Ladies and gentlemen. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Come on in, we're ready to start. Come on in. Please find your seats. We are ready to get this ball rolling. Whether it's tennis, pickle, padel, whatever ball you choose, we're ready to roll it. So please come on in, find your seats, and we will start in seconds. Thank you. Please do us a favor and move in toward the middle as we're getting quite full here. Thank you very much. So if you could slide toward the middle, allow people to funnel in, that'd be great. We've got a tight schedule today, so we want to start ASAP.
Test.
You could make a comment about Donald Trump and crowds. Oh yeah, no kidding, yeah. I'm on now, great, yep. No, I'm good. I'll stop talking. All right, Warren, are we ready?
Ladies and gentlemen, please find your seats. We are ready to roll. Love the excitement, but we've got seats ASAP. Thank you.
Thank you, Aretha. All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our Rancho Mirage 2024 World Conference. We appreciate you taking the time to come, and also want to welcome all of those members who are joining us live streaming. So thank you. We know it takes time out of your week and your work day, but I think you'll find it'll be very rewarding and very memorable today. First, I'm very excited to be here. This is my first World Conference as your president, but particularly because it's a World Rackets Conference. And growing up in Australia, I played every ball sport imaginable, much to my father's chagrin, who was a rugby player. I even tried rugby. But anyway, I think we're moving into exciting times. Our whole industry is changing, evolving, and I think we also have to move with the times. And I think we all agree that it will benefit our association to be innovative and new and be open and welcome the change. Our theme this year was Rackets United. And I think that's what we're doing with the amazing padel court built in the ballroom, which I did not think would ever happen. But congratulations to all of you. I want to thank the staff and my very supportive board for always being there for me, and they do an amazing job. I want to thank Brian, who's 9 months into the job and has done an incredible job. I think he's visited almost every state in the US. But I think and hope that today will be a memorable one for you. We've got changes coming, and we all think that they're going to be very helpful to all of your careers, but also we need to keep up with the industry. So I would like to welcome everybody again. I'd like to officially open the 2024 World Rackets Conference and call up Brian to welcome you again.
Good morning. You didn't think you'd have to get up at 8 o'clock when you weren't working, did you? Well, we appreciate that this morning. This is incredibly exciting. You chose to be here with us because it's important to you, which means the association is important to you. That's what is meaningful to us and the entire staff, but what you hear from Trish and the board on a regular basis is what is best for our membership, what is best for them. And that is, if you take away nothing more from the conference this week, is we have you in mind every day. And if we can help you achieve what you want to achieve, help you be what you want to be, and help you go further than you ever thought you could go, then we've done our job. And if we don't, then we haven't. This is going to be a very, very exciting day. It's going to be an exciting week. I'm looking at just the celebrities in the room who are here with us also because they chose to be here, which is an absolute amazement. So thank you. The speaker lineup is incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Best speaker lineup ever in the history of any conference anywhere. And because this is live streaming, it's true. So we don't have to question the validity of any of that. Exactly. It's going to be a great day here. This session starts off with an amazing gentleman who I got the pleasure of knowing yesterday, and I feel like we're brothers already. And then, so we're going to ask you to hold yourselves in these chairs for the next hour and a half. Please don't leave. If you got to get out, go now and run back. But we've got some really exciting stuff we want to share with you. But please stay with us for the next hour and a half. The rest of the day is going to be full of fun, engagement, education, exciting stuff, and exciting times. The trade show tonight is across the street. Check your apps, make sure you've updated your apps, make sure you read your apps. That's where any new information is going to be. If you need anything at all, ask the staff, ask any of the board. The board is here to help you as well. I also want to thank all of the executive directors. Raise your hand, stand up, executive directors. Let's go. In addition to their day jobs, their job is also helping support you. And then could I have the divisional presidents and vice presidents please stand up? Nice job. In addition to their day jobs, they take the time to do what they and their boards think is best for you in each of our divisions. And I think we have to really reinforce that having each division have a board, have an executive director, and have that structure is different from anybody else in our industry. It separates us because we have people locally that you know, that you can call on, that care and that care about you. Could I have the board stand up, please? Our national board, please. They're mostly in the back. I think they're the bouncers. Are they all in the back? Thank you, guys. I think what you don't, I think what maybe they didn't understand either is it takes a lot more time to be a member of this association, especially on the volunteer side. So I really do thank them. I thank their counsel, their advice, their decision making, and that. So I really do appreciate it. All right, we're going to get on with the show. I am thrilled also to introduce to you our host of the event. We decided we needed a host since we're going to be on TV. This gentleman I've known for probably 35 years, something like that. We worked together at Wilson. He has then gone on, and he's now an author, a speaker, probably one of the funniest men you meet. So Tim Buick is going to be our host of the weekend, and I'll turn it over to him. Thanks.
One thing I love is being able to yell at you because you're talking so much. And so that is a great thing. Am I
There you
on?
go. Yeah,
I
you
am
are.
on now. And so I was able to yell at you because we've got a spaceship coming through. This is great. This is fantastic. So I'll tell you, it's been excellent to see a standing room only crowd and the energy in the room. And ladies and gentlemen, I've got to tell you, I am stoked, amped, pumped, and jacked to be your host all week long for the 2024 World Rackets Conference. And yesterday we had a full slate of presentations that were absolutely outstanding. We had a dynamic specialty course in the afternoon, and then we totally rocked it at the party last night. And I'm happy to tell you, we are just getting started. Now think about this. Today, for many of us, this is a work day. I mean, how great is this? We're talking and selling and teaching and preaching and playing the sports we love all over the world in beautiful settings like this one right here in Rancho Mirage, California. And it is such an incredible privilege to be able to do what we're doing. And this, for many of us, is a work day. We have the privilege of working in the toy department of life. How awesome is that? Let's give it up for what we do every day. Now here at the WRC 24, this of course is the USPTA, but we also have people from the PTR, the USTA, the ATP, the WTA, the ITF, the PPA, the APP, the USAD, the IPF, the USS, the APTA, the PPT. We have the IPT, APA, the TW, CDT, PBI, ITA, NCAA, and I think I saw sneaking around in their black BMWs, SUVs, and ATVs, people from the FBI, CIA, and KGB. Everybody wants to be here. That's just an FYI. But IMO, WTF, let's get this party started ASAP. You with me? Yeah, baby. I am so glad that you can join us today. Whether here and we have a standing room only room or virtually, and I know you're in your underwear and your hair's all messed up, but we're glad you're here as well. Today will be a historic day, starting right here, right now. And it is my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker. We are about ready to have the privilege to hear from Alistair McCaw, who is recognized as one of the world's leading figures in leadership, team culture, and mindset. He is the author of 7 best-selling books, including Habits That Make a Champion and Mindset is Your Superpower. Alistair has worked with some of the world's most successful athletes, coaches, and leaders during his long career. As a former performance coach, Alistair was active on the ATP and WTA tours, working with 15 of the top 50 players, including Kevin Anderson, Svetlana Kuznetsova, Xavier Malisse, Monica Puig, and former world #1 Dinara Safina. He has worked with numerous Olympians and world champions in a variety of sports, traveling all over the world so that they could be their very best. And he's traveled here to be with us today. Alistair is quite an athlete himself. He is a former 5-time world champion competitor in the sport of duathlon and is a 29-time marathon finisher. Seriously? I mean, I kind of strutted in here thinking during my illustrious career, I finished 3 5Ks. 29 marathons. Born in Johannesburg, South Africa, currently living in Boynton Beach, Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me give a warm welcome to our speaker, Alistair McCaw.
Thank you so much, Tim. Thank you, Trish. Brian, that's a hard act to follow. Those acronyms, I wouldn't be able to get past 2 or 3 of those. But welcome, everybody. Welcome to the 2024 WRC 24. I'll get that right. You see, I couldn't even get past 1. Brian did about 30 there. Welcome to everybody on the online streaming as well. Good to have you with us. I'd like to start today's presentation by showing you 4 companies that were once titans in their chosen fields. Got a little creak there. Right, so there we have 4 companies that I'm sure you all recognize. You were probably a member of at least 2 of those. I know I was a member of 2 of those at least. But what is the commonality between those 4 companies? And I know that's not a very, very difficult question. You'll probably know that they failed. And today there's only 2 companies that barely exist out of those 4 that we're showing there. Now, I could have shown you a whole host of them. Atari, Macy's, a couple of bookstores as well. We obviously know Amazon were responsible for that area as well. But here's what I know, or here's what we know about these companies. Gosh, the light is a little bit tough here. Maybe that's just my age of my eyesight coming in. So Kodak, founded in 1881 by George Eastman, they held 85% of the film roll and camera market. Do you guys remember this? If there's any Z generation or alpha, you guys would be going, what on earth is that? That was our photos. And we would have to make sure we would take the perfect photo, right? We couldn't mess up. There was no photoshopping. And then we would take that to a CVS or a Walgreens or a Walmart or whatever and get that developed. And sometimes it would take, 2 to 5 days, right? You could speed it up a little bit as well. So a little bit of history for you there to our younger generation. A company once worth $31 billion is now today only worth $380 million. The reason? They failed to embrace change and adapt. In fact, in 1975, a company employee came up with the first digital camera, to which the CEO said, we're a film roll company, right? And they ditched that idea. Lack of adapting to the market, poor leadership decisions cost them in the end. However, their competition, Fujifilm, still exists today because they adapted and pivoted in time. An interesting thing about Fujifilm is that they realized that the collagen in developing films was the same collagen we use in our beauty products and pharmaceuticals. So Fujifilm today are in the pharmaceutical business. Talk about pivoting and adapting. If we have a look at our next one, BlackBerry. I owned a BlackBerry. I'm sure many of you owned a BlackBerry as well. In 2011, BlackBerry were the leaders in the industry with over 85 million users. Of course, you know that Steve Jobs came out with the iPhone in 2007 and adapted their phone and innovated their phone with the touch screen and certain features to which BlackBerry said that will never work. People want to push numbers. They want to crunch numbers. They want to feel numbers on their phone. Right? They said that the battery life is too short on an iPhone, and when you drop the phone, it cracked, which is true. But here we are today. iPhone is a strong in the industry, and BlackBerry no longer exists. If we have a look at the next one, Blockbuster. And yes, I still have my Blockbuster card. Anybody have theirs still? These are collector's items, I think, these two. I think I better be careful on the way out of here later on today because these are much wanted items. If we have a look at Blockbuster, they once had 9,000 stores and over 50 million members. In the year 2000, Netflix came to them with an offer of $50 million to partner. They were laughed out of the office. Okay? Reason why they failed? They failed to adjust to the market to online streaming. Today, Blockbuster has 1 store remaining from the 9,000. That's in Bend, Oregon. Still exists. So there's still one Blockbuster today. Netflix are worth over $150 billion today. That's the difference. And our final one, Toys R Us. Once the largest toy retailer in the world with over 800 stores, their sales annually were $11 billion. Due to not embracing online shopping and e-commerce, they filed for bankruptcy in 2018. In fact, this is a picture of the Toys R Us in Boynton Beach, around about 1.5 miles from my house today. That is what it looks like. I actually took that photo on the way to the airport. Actually, I had to make a U-turn where I thought, let me take a photo of the Toys R Us in Boynton Beach and show what it looks like today. So there's the proof that we have. So we see that these massive companies failed to pivot, failed to adapt. And let me tell you, that's not just with companies, that's with you. Because you are a brand as well as a coach and a leader. So the lesson, if you fail to change, innovate, create, adapt, pivot, you eventually become extinct, right? During my career, I've certainly seen certain companies and organizations fail, but I've also seen coaches and leaders fail because they were still stuck on the old story of what they were and didn't want to pivot. And we see that today, and we're going to show a few examples of where we are seeing that today in our industry. So what are some of the reasons for resistance to change? The fear of the unknown is one of the most popular ones. And when I ask leaders what their fear of change is, this is usually the first one that comes out, is that they just don't know what the future is going to look like. But no risk, no reward. Stuck in old ways and beliefs. How many of us are in organizations where we still believe that there's ways that things can be done better? We know, for example, any Formula One fans out there? I can see them in the United States. NASCAR, anybody? All right, if I was in Europe, like half the room would go up right now with Formula One. But if we have a look at the Mercedes Formula One team, I'm sure you've heard of Lewis Hamilton. We look at a team on innovation and changing every single day. In Formula One, the difference between first and 10th place is pretty much 0.1 of a second. And I know my good friend Kyle LaCroix, who's a Formula One supporter, would probably correct me on that. But that's the difference between first and 10th place on the grid. So it's an industry where innovation is happening all the time. And if you're stuck on old beliefs and you're still thinking that your car from last year is going to be fast enough this year, you're pretty much at the back of the grid. That's how fast that industry moves. We also know that lack of knowledge and skills causes resistance to change, right? Where we don't know enough. We're not competent enough in that particular area. So what's the easy thing to do is shun that off. Oh, that's stupid. Oh, that'll never work. I can never see myself doing that. And then uncomfortable. Who likes to get uncomfortable? Well, the highest performers and best athletes, best coaches, best leaders in the world are getting uncomfortable every single day. And this is something I encourage you to do this week. And moving on from here is become uncomfortable. Nothing happens in a comfort zone. I've never seen somebody successful or a high performer stay comfortable. They're continually getting out of that comfort zone. And I encourage you this week to become that person. And then complacency, right? That's what happened to these major companies. Kodak says, we don't need to change. We're number one in the industry. We're the film roll company. Can you imagine what they think now? We're in 1975, right? They already developed the digital camera. They were overtaken very quickly. Think about 1975. There were some major innovations. Who remembers the Concorde? For me, the Concorde aircraft was way in front of its time. From New York to London in under 4 hours. That was back in the 70s, right? We obviously know a few disasters and a few unfortunate situations took them out of the business. Also, it was an incredibly expensive aircraft to run. But what we know is that leaders and organizations not willing to innovate and change eventually become irrelevant. Probably about 5 or 6 years ago, of course we know with COVID, we lost track of all time. I was at an NCAA conference in Cincinnati for all the gymnastics coaches there, right? And I was talking about this exact thing about change and adapting and changing your coaching style. And in fact, I was having a conversation yesterday with Brian and Trish about this, is that I was brought up in South Africa, so our coaching style and our upbringing was pretty tough, military-like. Do as I say. It was tough. So I could relate to the Russian style of coaching and Eastern European, hence why I worked with Svetlana Kuznetsova, Dinara Safina, these kind of players, Yelena Dokic, etc., because that's the way I was brought up, that's the way I was coached. But I soon found out when I started working in the UK and the United States that I had to change my coaching style pretty quick if I wanted to be relevant, right? Because that style was no longer working. And it took a few years to unravel the way I used to coach to the way I should be coaching and wanted to coach. And this is something very important, not just for the young coaches here, but for the older coaches as well, is that you're not to the way you coached before. You can always change if you want to. I believe that as a leader and a coach, you need to know what your identity is as a leader and coach. How do you coach? How do others see you as a coach or a director or a leader, for example? Those are important questions, right? How do you do that? Pretty easy. Take pen and paper, write down. How do I want to be seen as a coach? Trustful, reliable, honest, confident. Write down a few keywords. That's the best way to come up with your leadership or coaching identity. If I was to ask you right now, what is your leadership identity? How do you coach? Would you be able to answer those questions? I believe those are important questions today in our industry. Research shows that our mindset plays a significant role in determining life's outcomes. By adapting and shifting your mindset, you improve your health, decrease your stress, and become more resilient to life's challenges. And that was a study by Stanford report. So, getting more specific, embracing change in the rackets industry. Right? Now, I was one of those guys who would run past the pickleball courts in Boynton Beach, Calusa Park, if any of you know that area, and they would be playing pickleball in the morning, and I'd go, look at that stupid sport. I will never play that sport in my life. You got to be kidding me. What is this? I enjoyed my tennis as well. In fact, I was didn't mention, but I was a pretty decent junior tennis player as well. I was in the top 10 in the under 12s in our country, and we had some good players back in South Africa in the day, Wayne Ferreira, Robbie Koenig, Neville Godwin, a few players that some of you would maybe recognize. But anyway, I was one of those guys that said, you'll never see me playing padel or pickleball, right, until I tried it. And now I am an addict, pickleball addict. If anybody wants a game, speak to me afterwards, right? You could see me on that pickleball court pretty quick. But it amazes me, over the last 3 or 4 years, conversations with coaches, and my home club is in Delray, where the tournament is, Delray Beach Tennis Center, of the conversations with some of the coaches that still are anti these sports. And I'm thinking to myself, what better opportunity is there to diversify, bring in some extra income, have a change to your day than just being stuck on one thing? Now, I get it. You love a specific sport. I get it, right? So do I. But when we change, when we adapt, when we stay more open-minded, that's when life starts to really happen, in my opinion. And that's what happened. Pickleball has been a game changer for me, and I love padel as well. All three sports, right? They can exist. Squash is another sport which I loved. I worked with the world number 1 in squash as well, Ramia Shur, and the world's woman number 1, Nicole David. And that's an incredibly tough sport as well. If you guys want sore legs the next day, just play a game of squash, right? It's just lunging and squatting and so on and so forth. But racket sports, that's where we're at. We don't have to just be stuck in one pigeonhole of one sport. I encourage you to try these other sports, and like me, I was proven wrong. Now, one of my partners that I play with at Delray, probably about 3-4 times a week, you might recognize that name, Carling Bassett Seguso. She was, I think, former number 8 in the world WTA, a US Open semifinalist. Of course, married to Robert Seguso, who was part of the famous Flack Seguso doubles team, won multiple Davis Cups and Grand Slams. And I asked Carling how she got into the game. Hey, so here with Carling Bassett Seguso, former top 10 player in the world and US Open semi-finalist. Carling, you were a pro tennis player, now you play a lot of pickleball. How did it start?
Actually, I kind of went into the frame of mind like most, solid tennis players do, and I, was back in my backyard for 2 years, and I poo-pooed it, and just like whatever, and then, I don't know how I got back here, but once I did it was instantaneous. It was like in 30 seconds I knew I was going to love it. Just because I love the whole aspect, not so much about even the sport, but the community. I like how tight it is. It's very intimate. It's really, I had a really rough go with, some mental health issues for a couple years, and it's really just come into my life and really just like taking it over in a good way. And my son and my daughter, we both all play competitively now, and we're loving it. It's like a family's dream.
Awesome. There you have it. So apologies about the sound quality there. Of course, is that sound of pickleballs. Which I know as a tennis player is one of the most annoying things. Oh, that sound of a pickleball, right? I was one of those guys, by the way. But basically, Carling has a similar story to me. I also had some mental health issues as well. I really struggled in COVID, I must admit. And pickleball was that savior for me as well. And Carling openly expresses her challenges with mental health as well. So, you know, the racket sports is just more, like I said, it's more than sports, it's life for us, especially the coaches and leaders here today. So what are the 3 doors to learning and growth? So we know we have to adapt. We know we have to challenge ourselves, stay open-minded, all these things. But the first one is curiosity. Instead of thinking, that's stupid, right? Just think about the changes in the iPhone or Facebook when they do update changes. What's your first thought when one of those changes come up? Oh, no, not another change. Oh, it's so stupid. Why don't they just keep it the way it is? That's a good way. Until you realize, actually, this is not that bad after all. But what's your first thought when you see we are changing, we are upgrading, right? So curiosity. Curiosity in the game of pickleball or padel got me thinking, I wonder what that's like, right? Because I've become one of those groups of like, this is stupid, this will never work. I mean, tennis has much more skill, and we've heard all these things before. Curiosity. The second one is humility. We know the biggest obstacle to learning is our ego. Our ego gets in the way. Ever spoke to someone who just goes, I know, and you're thinking to yourself, no, you don't know. We have those in the workplace, right? Hopefully you're not that person, but the humility to listen and be coached and to be teachable. Coaches, we're very good at telling our pupils to be coachable, to be teachable. But how teachable and coachable are you? How open-minded are you? How much humility do you have to learning? I believe to be coachable, you need to be someone that looks, observes, listens, learns, and asks questions. That's a coachable and teachable person. Again, somebody that looks, listens, learns, and asks questions. That's a coachable person, right? The most coachable athletes I've worked with, and Kevin Anderson, we're going to get onto him soon, was one of the most coachable people ever. Observing. He'd listen with his eyes and his ears. When you'd speak to you, he'd be there. I've worked with players who are like all over the place, and I'm sure we can recognize that, right? With some junior players where they're looking everywhere but you. I have a tip for you, coaches. Maybe adapt the way you bring your message forward. You might get their attention better. Keep your messages short, right? Coach John Wooden was way ahead of his time, the great UCLA basketball coach. They said he was the modern-day Twitter coach, right? Less than 3 lines. Coach Wooden would coach in chunks, 1 line, right? Let's cover the defense, and he'd pause. And then he'd say his next thing, so he'd let that digest. I did a survey with 118 athletes at LSU University a few years ago, and Joe Burrow, the Cincinnati Bengals quarterback, was one of those guys that did this survey, right? It was done anonymously, okay? And I asked, what are the 3 most annoying things in a coach? I like just doing things differently with these researchers, right? It wasn't exactly scientific. I want to know what's the 3 most annoying things. Anybody know what number 1 was? Did I hear that? Talking too much. And I didn't tell her beforehand, by the way, was the most annoying. We think as coaches, we need to fill gaps. Congratulations, you got the first book of this session. Mindset is your superpower. Well done. Congratulations. It pays to speak up and be brave. Talking too much. And of course, one of the top 3 was as well a coach that can't be trusted and a coach who thinks it's all about them. Those were the top 3. I gave them a list of 10. Number 1, a coach that talks too much. Coaches, you don't have to fill every gap. Silence is one of the best ways of teaching and coaching, right? And then number 3, being more open-minded. And if there was just one thing that you got today, don't invest in Kodak yet, right? No investing in that just yet, is to be more open-minded. Like Brian said, this is probably the best conference to date. And I was looking last night at the schedule and the speakers, and I'm thinking, wow, to put this together, and congratulations to Ramona and her team as well, to put that together is phenomenal. And I'm very, very fortunate to go to a lot of conferences, but that amount of speakers, that amount of events, guys, the logistics to that is just incredible, right? But I encourage you to look on that schedule and do something that makes you feel uncomfortable. Go to a session. If you're a tennis nut, go to a padel session. If you're a pickleball, go to a padel. Try it out, check it out, right? Coaches especially, and I'll repeat it again, you are missing out in an opportunity of revenue and income and relationships and connections and job opportunities if you're just sticking to one sport today. Really you are. So what is the mindset of excellence? They embrace change. They stay curious and teachable. This is more of just a summary. They're willing to get uncomfortable, and they adapt when needed. One of the best conversations I ever had was when I was up at Duke in 2019, and this happened just before COVID. In fact, I think it was maybe January of 2020, where I was consulting up at Duke, and I was in Coach K's office, Mike Krzyzewski, who was the coach at Duke basketball for 42 seasons. And back then, so he was on 40 seasons because I think he had an extra season because of COVID, so he did 42 seasons. And I asked Coach this one simple question. I asked him, what is the key to sustained success? And what did Coach K say? He said, Alistair, it's not just the key in basketball, it's the key in life is your ability to adapt. Adapt to people, adapt to places, adapt to the unexpected. And boy, what a message that was 1 month before COVID hit us. And that was the advice I took forward, is continually adapt. Did I enjoy going on to Zoom meetings? Not really. Do I still enjoy it today? Not really. But we have to adapt. There's going to be things that we don't like to do. Working from home, the commuting or the hybrid, whatever it is that the ability to adapt. And that was the advice he gave me. In fact, one interesting story about Coach K is he said, Alistair, if you look over to the side, we were in his office below the Campbell Beachers in the Duke basketball stadium, and there was this old gray file cabinet. Now, who remembers Bruce Almighty? Anybody? I'm age, just showing my age here. It's about 20 years old, right? Do you remember that file cabinet that pushes Bruce Almighty all the way back, right? It was a kind of file cabinet they're old and gray. And he said, if you look in that file cabinet, there's 40 seasons of us playing basketball and all the matches and all the practices, and you won't find one season the same. Even if we won the championship or had a great season, we didn't repeat the same season. Because we knew the competition would change. We knew our players would change. We knew the team dynamics would change. We knew possibly the coaching staff would change. So we had to keep adapting and changing. If you're copying and pasting and thinking that's going to bring you success, you're in for a rude awakening. I remember the world #1 squash player who had dropped to 7-8 in the rankings, an Egyptian fellow, and he called me and said, I don't know, everybody's figured me out. And I said, they have figured you out because you haven't changed. Your game patterns are still the same. Today we have YouTube. We can just watch what a player is doing. It's easy to scout somebody. We don't have to sit beside the court or be there live. We just see it in live streaming on YouTube to see what a player plays like. But he was late to the party. He was late to changing because they'd figured him out. But that was a fascinating conversation I had with Coach K that afternoon where he said, it's your ability to adapt. 42 seasons in a game. In fact, somebody else who adapted incredibly well was Nick Bollettieri, of course, the famous coach from Bradenton. I got to work with Nick in the early days at IMG, and to stay relevant for over 45 years in the coaching industry, working with the different generations, is an incredible achievement, right? All those generations, 5 different generations, and you're still relevant. How are you adapting your personality and your character to your students? Today in the workplace, we have 5 different generations. I'm not going to name them off, right? If you need to look at them, they're on Google, and I think boomers, let me try it. Boomers, X, Y, Z, and Alpha in the workplace today. They all communicate and function differently. Coaches, if there's 3 areas, coaches and leaders, if there's 3 areas you should invest today in, and when I speak to investment bankers, when I speak to law enforcement, when I speak to corporate, I give them the same message that I'm giving you right now. The first one is AI. This will affect our industry, right? AI won't necessarily take your job. It's people who understand AI who will eventually replace you. So my suggestion is maybe get a book like Dummies, AI for Dummies, or something very, very simple to learn about what AI is. The second one is emotional intelligence, understanding yourself and understanding others better. That's massive. And the third one is generational codes. Understand the generations that are coming through. The world has changed more in the last 20 years than it has in the last 200 years. Technology is moving fast, right? So stay updated, stay on top of these things, and don't put them off and say, well, that doesn't really apply to me. It does. Kevin Anderson was a player. I'm not going to spend too much on this. I just got to be careful of my time. I worked with Kevin between 2014 and 2018. Now, Kevin was always, when I started with him, he was top 20, top 25, and very, very stuck in his ways, like most professional tennis players are, right? Because they've got to that level, they're scared to change something, because what if I lose what I've already gained, right? That's why especially the higher level of elite athlete you work with, the tougher it is for you to change their game. Because they've already got to that level, they don't want to change anything. They're scared that you're going to mess with something, right? But for Kevin let go, right? We had a fantastic team. I was his performance coach at the time, mental coach. We had hitting partners. We had a professional team. Kevin embraced that. Of course, we know that Kevin went on to be top 5 in the world, 2 Grand Slam finals. He'll forget that match against Federer in the quarters, 2 sets to love down. I never expected that to happen, to beat Federer 3 sets to 2 at Wimbledon. But Kevin embraced change and getting uncomfortable. I respectfully say this morning. He is the most untalented athlete I've ever worked with. And you're like thinking, wow, that's a little harsh, Alistair. Kevin knows it. In fact, I write about it in Champion Minded. I asked his permission. But he is the hardest working and most coachable athlete I've ever worked with. He absorbed information. He made me a better coach. I would not have been able to work with Kevin 10 years before, because Kevin is the why guy. Why? Why are we changing this? Why did we do 10 reps last week and we're doing 15? Why are we doing this? I would have been out of there like 10 years ago in about a day. Like, no, I can't do this. He made me a better coach because I had to know what I was bringing to the table. I had to know my facts. He wasn't doing it to be difficult, to be rude. He was doing it to say, why are we doing this? What is this change going to bring me? Okay? So change is a mindset. You're either stuck in the past or you're open to learning new ways and ideas. So let me ask you, how open to change are you? Is it just words, thoughts? In what ways are you innovating and evolving as a coach, as a business, as a brand? Are you still stuck on old ways? Nope, we're just going that direction. That's all we're doing. Okay? Again, technology is moving fast. The world is moving fast. This generation today want more variety than any generation before. So if you're just sticking to one sport or one discipline, you're cutting yourself short. They want variety. Why? Because we have cell phones these days. Thank you, that was just on cue. Is that a BlackBerry? I'll buy it off you because that's a collector's. Right? I don't know where I was going on that, but anyway. Technology, yes. They have options. Have you ever sat behind a teenager on their phone? It's like, whoop, Instagram, TikTok, whoop. There's like 20 windows going at once and 20 conversations at once. And coaches, you're wondering, why didn't Johnny get back to me? Because there's 20 windows open on his phone, and he forgot about you 7 windows ago. That's why, right? No, it used to drive me crazy as a coach. And then how uncomfortable are you really willing to get? Comfort and complacency are the enemy of progress. And I hope there's been enough examples during this presentation to show you that, yeah, maybe I do need to change and get a little bit more uncomfortable and not so set in my ways. I encourage you to keep an open mind, be curious, not judgmental. Anybody know where that line comes from? Ted Lasso, yes. Check that video clip out on YouTube. It's like 1.5 minutes, but it's excellent. Be curious, not judgmental, and get uncomfortable. Excellence never comes from a comfort zone. Nothing great ever grows in a comfort zone. Finally, I'd like to read to you something that I actually included in my next book on driving excellence, and this has become one of my favorite topics and favorite subjects. So we're looking at the difference between success and excellence. What is the difference? Well, success is about the outcome. Excellence is about the process. Outcomes aren't always controllable, but the process is. Focus on excellence. Success is the destination. Excellence is the journey. You're going to spend 98% of your time in the journey, so learn to find joy in it. Excellence is found in the standard in which you do the small things. Everyone can do the big things well, but it's how you do the little things that most people don't see that really matter. It's about continually challenging yourself, getting uncomfortable. It's about adapting, evolving, and reinventing yourself. Excellence is about winning the day, following winning habits and routines that pull you closer to success. It's about taking ownership of your journey, not complaining, blaming, or feeling like a victim. Excellence is about coming up with solutions when problems rise. It's about staying curious and teachable. It's about the ability to unlearn the old and relearn the new. It isn't about trying to be perfect. It's about making progress. It's about consistency, a commitment to staying disciplined regardless how you feel. More than anything, excellence is an attitude and mindset. Make excellence a habit. Thank you.
Thank you, Alistair. That was outstanding. Let's give it up for him one more time. That was excellent. So many outstanding points about embracing change and changes of mindset. Adapt or die. Curiosity, humility, open-mindedness, and excellence never comes from your comfort zone. Now we have about 10 minutes for Q&A. If you have a question for Alistair, now would be the time to ask. So we've got about 10 minutes, and I see someone way over here. And we'll be really quick and efficient with that. Here we go.
Thank you, Alistair. That was amazing. I just want to comment. I came to this country about 30 years ago, and I've been married for about 25 now. And my wife would always tell me, I married you because you have an amazing ability to change. And that was just amazing. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Who else do we have?
Thank you for that question. I always give the first person to ask a question a book, so congratulations. Sir, I must admit, when you started...
Thank you. I want that. That's great. Oh, it's not
When
for
you
me.
started asking that question, I thought I was on my Dr. Phil mode there for a little second. But thank you for that question.
Another question for Alistair. Yes.
Thank you. That was big. Can we get this on a slide, or do we have to buy your book?
Oh, you'd have to ask the organizing committee about that one. But I know there will be books available. There's a book signing today at 12:30, so I'm not pushing any books or anything. But you'd have to ask the organizing committee about that, yeah.
Who's next? Here we go. All right. Very good. Remember Phil Donahue when he'd run around all over the place?
Yes, my name is Linda Paulding. I just want to put in a plug for my book, Never Limit Yourself. Have a picture of me ball in tennis, and we'll have padel. And I have been taking some various classes in regards to padel. But what three things that we can consider just at this moment of what you're feeling the thoughts of, just from your speaking, as to what three changes that we can actually make right now, today?
Well, I think, good question, thank you. I think, I don't know if I'm able to come up with three straight away, but I think staying open-minded, we saw that word a lot, change, open-minded, because we all have a favorite sport, right? And here we have 3, 4, 5 maybe different sports, and there's lots of different racket sports, but to be open-minded, get uncomfortable, give it a try. You don't have to love it, but it could be something like which happened for me in pickleball, which changed my life. As we also heard from Carling Bassett-Segusa there as well, suffering from some mental health issues like I did, of trying a different sport and how it just changed my whole direction. But I'd really, we had 2 or 3 goals there of getting uncomfortable, trying something that you're not used to, opening your mind to change and understanding it instead of having that mindset of every time you see change, you're like, oh, resist, resist, resist. So I think those would be 3 areas. I think I gave 2 or 3, which we could adapt this week and moving forward as well. I think it's so important is that you not only feel motivated and inspired by so many great people around you, not just the speakers, but sitting amongst you, having those conversations and just taking as much away as you can. That should be the goal this week.
Hello, John Frelisto from the beautiful Midwest section. So you talked about Kevin Anderson probably being the least athletic. Who was the most athletic athlete that you felt you worked with? And what are the keys to their success? Yeah,
I'd say Xavier Melis was the most underrated. In fact, Xavier was in the same age group as Roger and David Nalbandian. I think it's the 81 age group. And, Xavier used to beat Roger 11-1. He used to give him a game in the 16s and 14s just so he wouldn't be too upset. We knew what happened later on, and Xavier says it. But Xavier was just an athlete, and I think this is all credit to his multi-skills up until the age of 12, 13, just like Roger did, by the way, played a lot of sports. Xavier could sink threes on the basketball court from way outside the 3-point line and play soccer at a high level. Marat Safin was another one. I remember working with Dinara. He probably could have played a good level of soccer as well. These great athletes, or these great tennis players are great athletes first. That's the foundation. So I'd say Melis was one. Svetlana Kuznetsova, of course, that background of her father was a pro cyclist, and the mother also played a sport. The Kordas. I worked with Sebi Korda when he was 10. I worked with Hurkacz when he was 10. And, we just look at the Korda family, for example. 2 girls in the, number 1, number 10 in the world in golf. And Sebi is, I think, the top American player at the moment. I'm not too sure with the rankings, but just great athletes at a very, very young age. They did a lot of variation. Yes,
Hi,
I think.
Al.
Sorry, Tim, we have one. Oh, sorry.
Hey, sorry. Great message. I've got a question. As a lover of both tennis and pickleball, what suggestions could you give to tennis from pickleball's approach to the game? Because when they started their professional circuit, they didn't just start it with the focus or emphasis on singles, right? They started it on team, and then they started it with an individual sort of circuit as well as a league. And is that even possible with tennis?
I think it is. I think all things are possible in different sports if we just learn from other sports. Let's face it, in tennis we've had a lot of changes over the years. 1961, you still had to, up until 1961, you had to keep one foot on the ground when you served. That changed. Of course, with technology and strings and balls and line calling and not VAR, that's soccer, Hawkeye, all these changes have always happened, and it's in a way improved our game, even though we've been resistant to it in the beginning. But if you listen to that video of Carling Bassett-Segusa there, and I apologize, the quality wasn't great because of those annoying pickleballs. I didn't say that. She says the community is something that's really beautiful for her, of embracing the community of pickleball as well. And, we know tennis is very, very competitive, and especially junior tennis is very competitive. It can be, especially at a high level, it can be a little bit volatile and a tough environment as well. So I think that's where tennis can learn a little bit more from pickleball. Have more fun, enjoy the game. It's like I said, these are games for life. So I think we just had one here as well, Tim. Tim?
Hello, hi.
Oh,
Thank you for your
Sure.
presentation.
Thank you.
As As somebody who's a little younger, you say, you know, we got to adapt with all the new generations coming in. What advice do you have for somebody who is younger going into an industry that is a little bit older and adapting maybe the other way? Compromise.
Just be open to everything. Explore, experiment, try as many things as you can, learn as many things as you can. You know, one of the best advantages I had from a young age was working a lot of jobs from the age of 10. Delivering newspapers, cleaning the gym restrooms, flipping burgers at 14, working in electrical stores, being a mascot for a drinks company. All these jobs have brought me to where I am today of learning just how people function. I was a waiter in a restaurant, which is one of the toughest jobs. You know, you got to be on your game and be a nice person to get tips to make your income. But I just think just be open to everything. Volunteer to do as much as you can. Ask a lot of questions. Become knowledgeable in many areas you can. I think that's so important. And then just on one more thing about today's generation. And when I talk about today's generation, I'm talking about under 25. So a combination of Z generation and Alpha generation is contrary to belief. This is not a lazy or entitled generation. For as long as I've been around, there's been laziness and entitlement. Right? So nothing has changed. But the years of mankind, there's always been laziness and entitlement. So human behavior hasn't changed. Technology has changed and the world has changed. Right? And for us to get the best out of this generation, it's not their fault. It's how we motivate them and inspire them as coaches and leaders. Right? Because they are our next leaders. They are our next coaches. So that responsibility lies on us. And when I talk about us, I know the majority here would be over 25. Of course, there is some that are below 25, which welcome to the industry. This is an incredible life if you work hard and you build up a lot of relationships, which is the key as well. Relationships is the key. I always like to say the more hands you shake, the more connections you make. The more connections you make, the more opportunities you create. And I would just say be versatile and build relationships. So.
Thank you, Alistair. Let's show our appreciation one more time for Alistair McCaw.
Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you have to use the bathroom, I'm so sorry, you can't. So cross your legs, lean forward if you have to.
Oh, perfect.
And what made you want to do that?
Yeah, the clickers are up here. Oh. Sorry. Yeah. Let's go. Am I on? Test, 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 test. So, did you believe what he said? Raise your hand if you believe it. Then you're going to love the next part. So he stole all my ideas, but he's got 7 books and has spoken all over the world, so I can't really blame him for that. But Alistair, that was absolutely amazing, especially because of the key messages you hit, which I think are so critical to our industry right now. You know, I have been lucky, but I've been to 56 different countries. I've lived in 4 different countries. I've met people from around the world, and you know what the thing is? Language, culture, but people are the same. They care what's in it for them, and if you can make it meaningful for them, they will listen and care about you. So that's who we are. That's who we need to be, and that's who we're evolving into. Our association is a very critical time right now. We're at a position where the industry is changing. It's evolving, it's growing, it's building. The opportunities, it's never been a better time to be in the rackets industry. But I think what's interesting for us is the opportunity for us now is to actually lean in. Raise your hand if you have racket sports in your title. I love it. I love it. Raise your hand if you are in the pickleball business? Raise your hand if you want to be in the padel business or if you're in the padel business. So what you've just shown me validates everything that we think, which is this is an opportunity for us to evolve and grow. And I couldn't be more excited to be here. But what you have to do, before you can evolve and grow, is you have to reflect. And you have to think, and you have to listen, and you have to look backwards and say, how did we start? Where did we come from, and why did we start? Well, back in 1927, the association actually tomorrow is 97 years old. And we've been around existing originally as the USPLTA back in the days when there was lawn tennis. There's an evolution from grass to asphalt to clay. The balls were white. We've evolved to yellow. We tried to go bigger balls. That didn't really work. Then we evolved again. And in 1987, we updated our logo and updated our branding. But the core remained the same: elevate professionals. And then in our current logo, in its current form, has been amazing, and it represents what we are today. And 97 years ago, we started this with a mission of promoting and really embracing the professionals in our industry. But we had to do more than that. We had to actually truly listen. So when I started, one of the missions Trish empowered in me was go talk to the membership. Please go see them, go visit them, go travel with them. And so I did. And had a blast. I think I went to 10 or 11 different divisions, went to a couple different USTA meetings, been at a couple trade shows, and I've talked to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of you. And I do apologize if I don't remember your face right away, but I'll get there, I promise. And what I heard was, we need more. What's the value? Why should I be a member? What's the value? What's in it for me? Which tells me a couple things. What does it tell you? It means we haven't listened, or we haven't communicated well enough to let you know what we're doing for you. That's on us. Totally on us. That means we have to do a better job of communicating, listening, but also making sure you know we're listening and communicating it back. The other thing we heard was evolution. Things are changing. We need new people in the industry. We need more. We need to hire. You know, it's a guaranteed job industry right now. If you are interested in teaching or being in the rackets industry, we guarantee you a job. But where do we find them? How do we encourage people who are not in our industry to join our industry? We do that through having inspirational people like you, but we have to have a career path. We have to show people what it looks like, what it means to be in this industry. How are you able to do this for 20, 30 years? But like Alistair said, the generations now, I think the average is they'll change jobs 8 times. And in our day, we change jobs 2 to 3 times. So we have to change our mindset, but we also have to keep encouraging people and getting people to come into the industry. We've talked to people. We need younger people. We do need younger people. But we also need people that care. We need people that are motivated to do the good work that we do. So we did listen, and we had a great time doing it. And I think the other thing that we heard was we need to communicate more. We need to let people know who we are. That is an absolute fact. You're here because of your loyalty. You're here because of your passion for the organization. But how many people think it's the best kept secret? I mean, we do. The consumer doesn't know who the USPTA is, and they certainly don't know that you're certified, but they should because of the time and effort you've put into it. Tennis is our core. You can't remove your core. That's like taking your heart out. You can't do that. But for us to think in terms of narrow-mindedness or single lane is really a challenge, I think, to today's world and today's moving and changing economy and moving and changing market. Because if you look at actually what the numbers say, there's 24 million tennis players. There's about 15 million pickleball players now. But if you look at total racket sports, we're looking at a market size of about 55 million people. Well, that's almost 2 times tennis. So you don't change your core. How about core plus, tennis plus? You add more. That's really what we're here to do, is talk about more. So that doesn't mean we're here to talk about raising your dues. We're not doing that. Doesn't mean you're not going to be certified anymore. You're still certified. Doesn't mean anything's going to change for you. What it means is we're going to change for the industry and the market so that we can all move forward together. So we did this intentionally. The board who stood up earlier, our executive committee who stood up earlier, we had a task force we put together that we hand chose from people around our industry members. And we had some brainstorming meetings, we had some Zoom meetings, we went through great deep discovery on who we are and not who we are, but who we want to be. And I think that's where you really saw, and because all of what you're about to see, I happen to be speaking about it, but it came from you. It came from your feedback, it came from listening to you. And what we really heard, we need to differentiate. We are all racket sports, on and off the court. It's not just about teaching and education and being on the court. It's not just about being technically great. This is about helping you in every aspect of your career. This is about helping you build a career, giving you skills, developing your ability to talk to people, interview skills, doing everything it takes to make you successful. That's what we heard. So on and off the court. You guys all teach great forehands. I know that. But have you put a resume together recently? Do you know how to interview? Do you know how to network? You're going to hear from Buffy Flappell later this week, who's doing a session on career growth. Network every day. Even if you're happy with where you are right now. I think Alistair just said it. The more people you meet, the more people you open that network. So we need to help you with those skills. We are your ally. We want to be your ally in this industry. And we are so much more. The other thing we had to do was we really had to figure out and find where do we fit in this industry. So other certification bodies talk about certification, and that's great, and there are choices. We understand there are choices. There are lower cost choices. There are faster choices. That's all good. We got to keep up with the market. But where we can separate ourselves, that I think is really important for us, is this idea of career pathing. We can help you get in, we can help teach you, we can help your apprenticeship, and all the way through wherever you want to take your career, whether that's on or off the court. Do you want to be in marketing? Do you want to be in the service industry? You know, we have a lot of accountants in this industry too. We should be that ally for you. We want to be that ally for you. We will be that ally for you. You ready? Edge of your seat? Introducing the next 100 years.
The year was 1927. The U.S. National Championships, now the U.S. Open, had just concluded on the grass courts at Forest Hills in Queens, New York City. And while Renee Lacoste and Helen Wills were still enjoying their singles titles, a small group of tennis professionals gathered on Fifth Avenue in an upper-story office within the renowned A.G. Spalding building. Their purpose that day was to chart a path for amateur players to join the respected ranks of tennis professionals and form a community in the advancement of that ideal. The result was the Professional Lawn Tennis Association of the United States. Nearly 100 years have passed since that day in late September, and the organization that was founded continues on the same path. And yet so much has changed. The landscape has shifted. Our game has evolved. New sports have grown. In a word, tennis is just so much more. To be relevant into the next century, we need to be more. We need to do more. We need to provide more. And as of today, we are more. More sports, more inclusion, more benefits, more opportunities, more pathways to career success. Today, we reimagine our mission and redefine our purpose to embrace the more of our sports. Because more is needed. More players, members, coaches, and community. More professionals in every facet of every racket sport. And to meet that need, we are embracing more on and off the court. A new generation of racket sports professionals needs what we pioneered almost 100 years ago. an organization aligned with their dreams and designed to fulfill their promise and ready to lead for the next 100 years. Welcome to the reimagined USPTA. Welcome to the Racket Sports Professionals Association.
Thank you. So super high compliments. We have told so many people about this and to please keep your mouth shut, and you have. Thank you. That was really cool. So there is a lot to this. There's a lot that went into it, and now we have a lot of work to do, and that to do is for you. And I didn't mean to make that rhyme, but and I want to talk about the logo, and I want to talk about the branding because it's all intentional. If you'll notice the star. The star is the emblem of what the USPTA is and will ever be, and that continues into the future. So that's that link, that's the homage to the last 97 years. But the ball, the multi-ball, has tennis in the middle. That's our core. Tennis is our core, will always be our core. But as we add more racket sports to our family and to our association, you'll see that as a multi-ball, which represents just more. We are very excited about this move into Racket Sports Professionals Association because it's the time. It's the time to fit. This is going to involve all of you every day. Oops, come on, baby. We went through this in a really meaningful way as well. We want to really talk about what's the core identity. Again, how does this relate back to you? This wasn't just a random, hey, let's just do this, make a pretty logo. That's not how we did it. Continuous improvement. I think Alistair talked about that as well. Always looking to be better. Leading edge, cutting edge training. We want to be that for you. Community focus. We connect you. One of the reasons you're here today is because of community. You love these people. You get with them every year. You see them at divisional conferences. You can't wait to reconnect. That's community. That's what we do really, really well. Unity across all racket sports. We don't have to choose one or the other. We get to play them all. It's a mindset. The mindset is not us versus them. The mindset is we. And we is how we grow. We is how we get better. And that's what's so exciting about this. I get thrilled. And then the excellence on and off the court. I think we can really separate ourselves as an association and as a body of people if we help people improve their careers, improve their standing, and feel better about what their accomplishments are. Our new mission statement is to champion the passion for racket sports by developing professionals who lead with integrity in coaching, inspire a diverse and inclusive racket community. Who doesn't want to be part of that? And our new vision is to elevate careers in racket sports with a certified professional on every court. That's intentional. Every court should be a certified professional. Inspiring people in every sport. That is what you do every single day, is inspire people. That's why they keep coming back to you. That's why you have the roles and the careers you have, is because you inspire people. That's the message we need to translate. So our positioning statement for the Racket Sports Professionals Association is the ultimate resource for racket sports professionals, offering comprehensive career support across all racket sports. We provide industry-leading certification, professional development, networking opportunities that support your career both on and off the court. We are your ally, we are your resource, and we are your community, and we can't wait to help you be the better you can be. You can't put a strategic plan together without core pillars, right? You got to have our core pillars. So our core pillars are membership development. We do need new members. We need younger members, but we need new members. I just met Rocky. Rocky was in the film business. Where's Rocky? Where'd you go? Here somewhere? Rocky was in the film industry for years, loved playing tennis. Somebody finally convinced him to teach tennis. Now he teaches clinics. He teaches in his home. He's got private lessons. He has 50 clients. He cares. He's passionate about it. We need those people in our industry as well. So it is younger, but it's also new energy, new boldness, new thinking as well. Partnership development. We have opportunities now by committing to be in multi-sports that we can have other partners, other channels, other endorsees that will help you directly and help your business and or help the association. We have to promote this brand. We started a commercial. We ran a paid commercial over the U.S. Open time. We have over 100,000 hits, and we have 35 new people who said, I want to learn about more careers in tennis. So we have 35 new leads that we're going to follow up on. We're going to continue that push. We're going to promote the RSPA through paid marketing. We have to promote our brand. We have to get a certified professional in every court. That is our mission. Our mission is, let's build these standards. We have to talk to employers, Troon, Genesis, all you guys. And I know you guys are committed, but we want those certified coaches and professionals on every court. Value enhancement, this is a question you should never have to ask. One of our members should never have to ask, why should I do this? What's the value for me? And if you do, that means we're not doing our job, and we're going to do a much better job of that. And organizational excellence, we are so fortunate. John Embry, congratulations on your gold ball, by the way. Did you guys know he won a gold ball? Thank you for putting, yeah, exactly. But thank you, John, for the team that you put together in the national office. They are rock stars. But we have to continue to be better at organizational excellence, to serve you, to make your experience with us better, to make new members who want to sign up through our coach developers and their experience with them. But we have to make that consumer experience the best we can possibly be. And I think we're going to do that. And I think this gives us a chance to set the future and set what it's going to look like for all of us. The brand personality is passion, it's professionalism, it's innovation, it's inclusive, and it's supportive. A lot of things that Alistair talked about, like I said, he's got 7 books. So. But that was really, I love the fact that it complemented what you said too, Alistair, because that's really, we have to show that passion, because we are. You're here because you're passionate. And I really do appreciate that, and I hope you feel that you're getting that out of us. And if you don't, I want you to tell us. I want you to communicate back with us and show us how we can improve. You're going to see when you leave today, you're going to get a new gift with the new branding. It's awesome. Please wear it proudly. This is not going to be a light switch. Please don't go throw away any USPTA gear, because we're going to do this over the next 9 to 12 months. The logo will actually have a little reference to it saying formerly USPTA. So everything USPTA will just transition over, so it will be a phased approach. Because we don't want to make anything obsolete. We don't want this to affect you at all. We want to make sure we do this the right way. We are updating the website. You're going to see a little bit of that. But here's some things. Here's the actual logo. You'll see this not only on your gift outside, but you'll see this in usage all over. Thank you to our partners, our endorsees. Phenomenal partners, by the way. Please support our endorsees. We gave them this news ahead of time so they could produce some really cool stuff. Dunlop has produced some jumbo balls. We got everybody's already ready and using the new branding. We're really excited about that. We've got each of our divisions is going to be represented as they should. Each sport gets its own badge. Yeah, there you go. So if you're certified in 3 sports, you get 3 badges and 3 certificates. If you're certified in 5, you're a superstar. That includes platform. That includes squash. Squash is our new one. We're going to launch that here while we're here. Is Rich in the room? Rich Wade, you here? Sweet. Rich Wade's going to tell you all about that. We're excited about squash, Olympic sport. Each division is well represented because that is the core to who we are, is our divisional strength. And the divisions are the ones that do the work for you every single day. So let's thank our divisional leadership. Look at that, Katrina. Look at that. Let's go. Come on. You'll see a banner at the top for people to learn about the new branding. There's a click. So the website will still be functional as it is. We're going to update the consumer side as a rolling basis, but you'll see what that looks like. It's pretty cool. The agency that we worked with has just done a spectacular job. That's what the office is going to look like as soon as we get back, maybe in the next few months as well. But this is what you're going to see next time you come visit us in Lake Nona, and you are welcome any time. Please don't ever call and say, do you mind? It is your office. It's your house. You guys are welcome anytime. We have all of this merchandise is going to be on display at our merchandise area. You can pre-order RSPA logo stuff. It's on the racks already. There's a microsite. Tennis Warehouse is opening to serve that. They're going to do 4 weeks of a microsite. You can order anything you want and get it all delivered. It'll be beautiful. We have samples of it here that you'll have a chance to look at. Great branding as far as other merchandise, plaques, some beautiful, beautiful stuff that the agencies. This is elevating who we are as well, and that's what I think is the coolest thing about. It's comprehensive, it's thorough, and we wanted to keep it like that for you so you could see it all at once. So that's why we decided to do the live stream. That's why we wanted you guys to be here in person. This is super exciting for us because now we have a very clear path of what the future looks like. So this is much more than a rebrand. This is about you on and off the court, us being your resource, us being your ally, and us being your friend in the industry. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being here. This is the opportunity for us to turn your passion into a full pursuit. And we couldn't be more excited to be here. Thank you very much.
My name is Chris Edwards, and I've been part of the playtest team here at Tennis Warehouse since 2003. We playtest and fit test every product we carry because we know how difficult it is to shop for tennis equipment online. That's why we offer you the most detailed product descriptions in the industry and in-depth written and video reviews so you can get the right gear for your game. Come hang with us online and share our passion for all things tennis.
The Cybersonic is a new way to access speed on the tennis court. It doesn't access speed through reduction, rather it accesses speed through innovation and technical components like the energy rod, which helps with propulsion and lets you change direction energetically and really push your pace on the court.
ASICS Court FF3 delivers a speedy feel, glove-like support, and the stability to withstand the most aggressive movements. Get the ASICS Court FF3 at tenniswarehouse.com.